Welcome viewers. On behalf of Iravati Research and Communication Center, this is your host Pratim Ranjan. In this edition, we will discuss India's successful Moon Mission Chandrayaan3 and its inspirational impact in India and in the immediate neighborhood. I have with me Mr. Shantanu Som, promoter of Kolkata-based IT OEM Somnetics. I also have two guests from Bangladesh. Mr. Shaquib Quoreshi is an economist by training and is promoter of Dhaka-based Business Intelligence Limited. I have Mr. Ziaul Hoque Mukta from Dhaka. Mr. Mukta wears many hats. He is an anthropologist, author, editor, and is into development field. Science and technology transcends national boundaries. Innovations and growth in one country impacts lives in others. The progress of China inspired India to make similar or faster progress. Today, India is the second fastest growing economy after China on a 20-year average. While China is now showing signs of slowing down, India is on a faster growth track. It is in this background that India took a giant leap in global space technology. India's discovery of ice during Chandrayaan-1 in 2008 and the latest explorations under Chandrayaan-3 will confirm the availability of water, among other things, on the moon. This will have great impact on the Artemis mission of the US. India and US entered a collaboration agreement for this mission in June this year. In short, Artemis aims to convert Moon as the base for interplanetary travel, thereby making space travel more cost-effective. In this regard, India is bringing two key solutions. First, Indian technology is proving the cheapest. If we simply divide the cost by the kilometers it has traveled, we will see it is roughly 16 rupees per kilometer, which is less than the hiring cost of an SUV in India. Second, the existence of ice will ensure availability of both water and oxygen, which are critical for setting up permanent stations on the moon. Second, hydrogens, once separated, can also serve as rocket fuel. Now, we will spend less time on technology rather than on the wider impact of the innovations involved with it. So, before we enter the main discussion, I would like Mr. Som to quickly summarize the technological achievements of Indian space mission and its importance in in the techno-economics of world space technology. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, we all know that we are a developing nation, India, and we don't have much resources. Like we don't have very big rockets like Saturn V. We don't have very evolved electronics manufacturing with us. So what we have actually done to overcome these hurdles is basically to innovate. ISRO has been an innovative organization right from the beginning itself. We had to cover 3 lakhs kilometers of distance with smaller rockets. So we have innovated a slingshot technology. Basically, I mean, I think you have everyone noticed that we have given 6 rounds actually, 3 rounds around Earth and 3 rounds around the moon.
I mean, in very common language, we use the gravitational force.
Yeah, the centripetal force actually. I mean, yeah. we achieved a certain
so that is why it took a longer time but less cost.
Longer time, less cost, less fuel,
right.
and a smaller rocket, of course, at the same time. Right. So this is like one. This is the same technology we have used for the Mongolyan also for the Mars mission, right? And as you have pointed out that it is actually cheaper, than hiring an SUV. For Mongolyan, it is actually cheaper than hiring an auto rickshaw per kilometer cost. It is something around Indian rupees 1 rupees 31 paisa per kilometer of travel, right? So this is one innovation. Second innovation is actually in the sensor technology and the electronics. The most of the sensors and the electronic onboard computers, everything was indigenous, and we have successfully developed an ecosystem of vendors around ISRO. There are more than 1,000 vendors who are actually supplying components to component subsystems, lot of other things as well, like the base for launch, everything, electricals and electronics. To make this mission successful, this is also a very important thing. Once you have developed a vendor ecosystem, you involve less capex from your end. It is actually the vendors capex which are working for you, right? So this is another thing ISRO has done successfully. They're not manufacturing everything of their own. They have created a vendor ecosystem, and this vendor ecosystem is
so if I can
actually
summarize
going to give ISRO a solid leverage in future missions.
Right. So what I can see is, let me take the liberty of explaining it to common viewers, is that to make commerce out of technology, you need an ecosystem, and that
Absolutely.
ecosystem belongs to the you cannot just a government organization or any organization cannot do that. You have to broad base it. In Chandrayaan-1, we had greater contribution of components from other nations, but in Chandrayaan-3, it is more indigenous than ever. So that is the
Absolutely.
difference. That is how in the next step the aim should be to make it a commercial, make commerce out of it, to make business out of it. That is when the economy gains. That is when the other things happen. We will get back to that in due course. Before that, Shaquib, I'm sure you have keenly followed the developments. Now,
Yes, I've tried.
Yeah, to many of us, it's a paradigm shift. We know that India is doing space technology. We know India is sending rockets, satellites, but there is the difference between landing on the moon and not landing on the moon. We realized suddenly we realized we expected that it might also fail. Okay, because remember, the Indian success rate is among the best in the world. We have only one failed mission. So, given that, to what extent this has just as it is inspiring us in India, I'm sure it has a huge inspirational impact in the neighborhood. And since the neighboring countries with just sharing borders should be more keenly watching this. Can you just give us a broad overview of the possible inspirational impact of this thing?
Thank you, sir. Yes, I have been watching it keenly, and it's a good opportunity to learn the details. And using those two euphoric words like giant leap, it still holds true. And we are happy that our neighbor, India, has become the fourth nation to make the moon landing successful. And that's on the darker side. For a layman's view, the darker side are uncharted, like when no one has been there. So making getting back to the point, what Mr. Somnath pointed out, I find it very inspiring.
Mr.
That
Som.
not only that technology and the capacity of the institutional capacity of ISRO. I made a LinkedIn post reposting your post in LinkedIn. In that, my thoughts were that I appreciated the institutional building issue of ISRO, which is inspiring for many of us, other countries in the neighborhood. At the same time, that indigenous ecosystem of about or over 1,000 vendors spreading the capex load, he brought in the economic issues. So here we see the efficiency and innovation not only in science and technology, but also in the management structure and how to make the operations more successful. And it's also creating high-end employment. Well, those firms supplying components and parts, electronics and gadgets to ISRO, they are capital intensive organizations. So it's not labor intensive, but still they will make very top class employment opportunities. And that has inspiration for younger generation, not only in India, but in the region as well. Not only the pure sciences like physics and maths and engineering, but also this kind of applied fields like materials handling and applied engineering. Those kind of fields will be more are likely to become more interesting to the younger generation. So that's what my take is. And my personal interest would be to follow more keenly this development of ecosystem of like technology contractors. In the USA, we know the story of the various defense contractors and the space contractors that supported US government's various government farms like NASA and the defense. But it has created a long history, and for the last 40, 50 or more time than that, it has created new materials which have commercial and industrial use for general consumers like we are. Originally, it was meant for space use in space emissions, but those as a trickle down effect or for commercial viability, they have reached consumers like we are. So this ecosystem, once it has been initiated, has far reaching prospects.
Right.
That's my take. Yes.
Right. So that's interesting. I mean, I can tell you, though our private defense manufacturing sector has been nascent in a sense. They were there, but not allowed in India or restricted in India until very recently. I was in a program some an year ago or so where I was surprised to know that Indian manufacturers are actually contributors to US Air Force. They are making equipment for US Air Force, US Army. And then I went back and checked our zooming, for last 3 years, our defense equipment exports have been booming. And I checked back the data and I saw roughly 68 or 60% of the total exports are directed to the US only, which means that this is not a low-end stuff. These are all in the higher end. Yeah. So with that, so there comes the opportunity for Bangladesh, for example, to if it may not send a rocket in the space, but it can of course join in the manufacturing process of these things and collaborate with Indian companies or whichever company it may be, and sort of take part in this kind of system, build a ecosystem at their end to participate in the game. Mr. Som, to what extent do you believe, what is the impact on Indian economy, industry, education? I'm sure it will have a multifaceted, varied impact on us. Will you please explain?
Sure. I mean, the areas it has actually impacted this kind of success is unimaginable. But I mean, I'm briefly touching 3 points, actually 3 areas which has actually impacted the most. First is the young minds and the academics. India is traditionally students, they go for engineering, medicine and management. Now there is a renewed interest in science and few branches of technology like robotics and mechatronics. This is very highly is connected with ISRO's success. There's a lot of mechatronics and robotics involved in in the orbiter and the lander,
Right.
as well as in the rover. So this is one area where I've seen posts in social media that
yes, that part is actually the most critical part, where the lander goes out and then you have you cannot control it from the earth. So you will have a foolproof system over there which will manage the landing, and I mean, for us common man, it could have landed up in a crater and could have just gone upside down, but it didn't. It is landing safely, which means you should have a very beautiful system in place. So you were
think
talking,
of
sir.
think of a young mind, a young mind who is actually quite used to play video games and all. Now he or she is seeing that something of what he or she has played in the video game is actually being done in real sense, right?
Right.
So I mean, he wants to learn that, he wants to do that. So that is something what is happening actually. I'm
Right.
connected with a makers club in Calcutta. Maker it's called Makers Loft. I mean, people, I mean, young children, the age of 8, 9, and 10. I mean, the club authority said that they have seen the entire episode sitting in the club, that of this descent of the successful orbital placement and everything, and now they are interested, they want to do it themselves, right? So this is something very
The
important.
impact on young minds is definitely there, but how it is, if you can give me more, kind of to the audience, where are the direct, immediate, midterm, and long-term benefits are? Maybe in the education, maybe in the industry, investment, wherever.
Yeah. In the industrial scenario, definitely, the entire world is actually gaining confidence in Indian technology, because not only we are successful, this is a very confident mission. Everything work like charm. Nothing has failed actually, right? So I mean, while ISRO is going to get a lot of shot in the arm, like they will probably get more orders for launching satellites. They already do it very well, right? The vendor of ISRO, they are also going to supply probably components to others like ESA, NASA. You never know. I mean, there is a lot of interest actually.
No, on the contrary, people are very confident overseas that these Indian companies, the ecosystem that you are talking about, they will be highly sought after. Now that there is a race to moon, Israel, Korea, Japan, everyone is sending missions. So
there will be a lot of collaboration with I mean, with South Korea, with Japan, and Israel. Basically, they may do
so overnight,
collaborative
a bunch
research.
of companies, their CVs have gone up.
Yep.
Their CVs have improved. This is a direct
Credential.
benefit.
It is actually about the credential of a nation, credential of an organization, credential of the vendor ecosystem. Everything together.
It is about the direct. When it comes to vendors, it is direct. But is it, or the startups? I'm sure there will be more startups there are already a couple of startups in space technology, but I'm sure there will be huge startups in space technology. But that apart, say for example, in your industry, you are in IT, which has the biggest role to play in these kind of things, and many other things. So where are there indirect benefits?
See,
Will
I
people
have
gain more confidence in Indian education? Indian education already, technology education is already highly regarded. Will people gain more confidence? Will will they get more private investors? Please.
Sure. I mean, I have experienced something very wonderful after ISRO's successful mission, that one of my vendor, one of my customer in US, we have been actually discussing a very critical project with them, and they have not been showing a lot of interest. It was kind of a lukewarm situation. Now after this, I got a call from their CEO. He has congratulated India for the success, and they said, Shantanu, would like to discuss this project with you. So what I understood is that being an Indian company, it has actually increased my credential, although I am not connected with ISRO directly, right? So, and you already know that there are a lot of private players coming up for space. Space is always considered as a holy grail of technology. It is I mean, any country is successful in a space mission, that shows that they have arrived in a technological theater.
To put it in a different word, if you want to be a superpower, you have to have successful space missions behind.
Absolutely. You just cannot do without space, right? It has got
it is like the Apple. It is like the Apple phone in someone's pocket, unless you have an Apple and you have a BMW car, it is not there in that league, super league. So that's it. I hope,
I'll just add one line. I will just add one line. There are already 3 successful private players in, space players in India. Ognikul Cosmos is one of them, because I know their CEO personally. So they are also going to be benefited. For ISRO success, they are also going to um, rather use ISRO's vendor ecosystem very successfully for their success. Right.
So what I can see is we have just started investing in defense stocks. A mutual fund product has also come on defense, just the first mutual fund product. So I'm going to, as an investor, I'm looking for the next opportunity in space. With that, let me come to Mr. Mukta. He has been waiting patiently. So now the most crucial part of it. We have been discussing actually more goal things. You are the person who is involved with the masses. To what extent you see its impact on the ground, in Bangladesh? I am really excited to know the impact there, because to what extent it has. I'm seeing some blogs and etc. So what is the inspirational impact? And what are the opportunities? See, you cannot just go and innovate overnight. You need to have a system in place. You need to have those kind of engineers. You need to people to study science, and they should do things, whatever. So what are the areas where you think the collaboration, association, or it can happen between the two nations? Is there a demand for Indian IITs? This kind of stuff. Will you please explain?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me congratulate Indian government and the Indian people through these discussions, as because being a southern country, India has done a great job. For quite a long time, the northern countries, the way they were dominating in the space, India, long back, India had started this, but this mission is something unique, as because this has some distinct characters, starting from its costing, its innovation, its own, dependency on the technologies, as well as the landing area. It has landed on the northern pole. So whatever. So as the southern pole, as this is something that there are some uniqueness, and that has a lot of inspiration, not only in India, I shall say, in Bangladesh, and definitely, I must say that throughout the world, this mission has shown a lot of opportunities, and it is an inspiration to the whole community throughout the world who are thinking around the spaces. So from that point of view, thanks again to the Indian people and the government and all stakeholders engaged with this process. And following this point, I'd like to share you that I personally feel that if you think about the Large Hadron Collider, which looks at the fundamental theoretical physics, which looks at the beginning of the, energy and matter. The Large Hadron Collider is a global collaboration that brings more than 5,000 scientists and authors together, and they are working together. They are managing the largest machine of the world. At the same time, I would like to refer the laser, this is called interferometer gravitational observatory, which looks at space, as well as the Large Synoptic Survey Telescope. These two are also very big and global collaboration that looks at the universe. In one sentence, the global collaboration is generating knowledge, information, technology at the smallest point and at the biggest point, means the universe. So collaboration has tremendous implications everywhere. So this mission to Moon, led by ISRO of India, it is also, as it gives some kind of inspiration to all. And I feel, as a neighbor to India, Bangladesh is also proud of that mission. And I would like to tell you that it would be great for Bangladesh, for us, if we can take part with the research and innovation that India is leading at this moment, particularly around this mission. So I shall say that there are several areas where the collaboration can help us. Number one is, this will, if there is a collaboration between India and Bangladesh, I see that there will be a lot of development in the research and development, like on the fundamental, on the basic research work, knowledge development, theoretical development. This is point one. The point two is in the area of technology development and diffusion. Technology is a crucial problem of the whole world. The northern countries for a long time, they are not addressing the developing countries as well as LDCs with their developed technologies. With the developed technologies, they always try to grab the market. So I think if there is collaboration between India and neighboring countries in the area of technology development and diffusion, we will be benefited. We all will be benefited a lot. The third area is there would be a tremendous job opportunity for the citizens of all these neighboring countries if there is collaboration. And at the same time, point four, it will bring some kind of economic opportunity for economic development. So from this 4 point of view, I see this this mission as an inspiration to us, and this brings opportunities for us as well, for countries like Bangladesh and other neighboring countries. And at the end, I would like to say that, as you know, at this moment, the whole world is suffering from extreme level of conservatism. And to fight against the conservatism, I think the development of science and technology is something very instrumental. And I shall say the fundamentalism that we are observing in many countries, the science and technology is by default against that kind of fundamentalism thinking and politics. And I'm sure that the development of science and technology will be helping us to develop a peaceful region in a subcontinent.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would like to end this discussion with a short answer. I don't know who will, between Shaquib and Mr. Mukta, who will take this question. It is up to you. Indian IITs are going at the demand from those countries to Tanzania, Africa, and I think I saw Tanzania and a couple of other countries, to Middle East, to Southeast Asia. Indian universities are, leading universities from the US are setting up, Australia or etc. are joining hands with Indian universities, top universities I'm talking about. Now, what surprises me is that so far there is not surprises, but it's a fact that so far there hasn't been probably so much of ground demand from the immediate neighborhood. Can you, will any one of you to answer this? Be very quick.
I can take it.
Yeah.
Well, the students from the neighborhood, they go to India for higher education, tertiary education, in numbers. I myself received a scholarship back in 1985 for some reason. Maybe I was not matured enough. I decided not to accept it. It was at MS University, Baroda, for statistics. And like 10 years after,
it is a very good university.
I had forgone that opportunity. 10 years after that, I was studying the same statistics and econometrics back in New York. So, but I could have done it 10 years earlier. So it happens, lost opportunities. But what I try to say is that, but the seats are limited, especially in public universities. Those seats are offered through government scholarships. But to private universities, which are not so cheap, they're also offering admissions to perhaps in a more favorable terms to the students of the neighboring countries compared to the nations in Africa.
What you are essentially, just cutting it short because of paucity of time, what you are essentially saying is that the students are already taking advantage of the Indian education system, so
Right,
there is not that much of a demand. But still there is a point. I can understand Nepal or Sri Lanka; these are very small countries, or Maldives, Bhutan. These are too small. But Bangladesh is not as small. Bangladesh is big, right?
Right.
So
But-
ideally, it should have, it should look for setting up institutes of, world-class institutes like IIT, having in their own soil. And
Probably I can add something in few seconds.
sir,
Like,
please.
there is a very strong demand for higher education and demand in research and collaboration in Bangladesh. Particularly, I shall say that a lot of people go to India and to the northern countries. So there is an education market in Bangladesh, and Bangladeshi people spend a lot of money for education. They are doing very small job, but you will find millions who are having a master's. They are completing their master's and doing small jobs. Means they have the money and they want to spend on education.
Right.
So if there are collaboration, I shall say that because as there are private sector in Bangladesh education sector, there are collaborations with northern universities and other institutions. If there is collaboration between Bangladesh and Indian institutions, I am sure people will welcome it